Kids headed back to school. Many times stress levels go way up, and many times that stress is all about landing that A. Or is it? The authors of the book, The Straight A Conspiracy, Hunter Mutz and Katie O'Brien, joined us this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, what is the Straight A Conspiracy?
The Straight A Conspiracy is the idea that people are born smart, right? We say things like, I didn't get the math gene, I don't have a natural ear for languages, and those ideas are really the worst idea ever. They're the ideas that are responsible for making school stressful.
Okay, so is it kids get it in their mind, like they're branded, I'm not good at that, and then they don't try, or what is it?
It sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, we worked one-on-one with students from 3rd grade all the way through graduate school, and everyone has these theories about their own intelligence, about what they can and can't do, and about how people become A students. And really, based on what you believe, that affects how hard you work, how persistent you are, how willing you are to look at your mistakes and really dig in. And that can be something that carries on for life. We meet a lot of adults who are like, I've never been a math person, or, that happens all the time.
Okay, so but what about those geniuses out there, the Mozart, Newton, are they Edison? Are they really geniuses, or do they just work really hard?
Well, they certainly worked very hard, but a lot of the stories that we hear that, Mozart composed his first masterpiece at 5, or that Edison invented the light bulb in a flash of inspiration, they're not really true. Edison didn't actually invent the light bulb. It was invented 45 years before he was born, but what we see is the benefits of really clever marketing campaigns. Edison used to give shares to reporters so they would write, like, favorable stories to him.
Nice!
It came from in an instant, and
It's all about the PR, the marketing.
Exactly,
it's all PR, but what we need to do and what we're trying to do with our students is kind of reframe the idea of what a genius is. Those people all did incredible, incredible things that shouldn't be downplayed. It's just that they did them through tons and tons of hard work and practice over and over until they got it right.
Okay, now what I love about your book, though, is really funny, it's honest. When you think about a book about education, it's usually dry. This is not. Did you have so much fun writing the book?
We had a lot of fun writing the book. We tried to angle the book right for the kid who hates school the most and would be the least likely person to want to read an extra book about school, not assigned for school. And the result was so much fun. We have all these cartoons and jokes, and we just went right for, how do we talk to our students in person, and how can we best get that across?
Okay, so what are your tips out there for parents and kids who are watching? They're going back to school. What can help them get that A?
Well, the #1 thing, and it's probably the scariest thing for most students, is to pull out all of the old tests that you have. Anything that comes back that has a lot of red X's on it, you don't want to look at it. You want to just shove it away in your backpack and never look again. But in reality, going right for where the mistakes happened is the best way to improve, because you can dig right in on what's going wrong and fix it for next time instead of letting that problem get worse and worse over time.
And so often our emotions get in our way of learning. Is that what you found with kids especially?
Absolutely, and that's also, what neuroscientists have found. We now realize just how important emotion is for learning, And in fact, the reason why it's so painful to get those mistakes out is because we feel stupid when we see our mistakes. And that's the point. That's really accurate. It's actually a feeling. Stupid isn't a fact. It's an emotional state that we experience that totally changes how we react to those mistakes.
Okay,
it's shame, it's fear. These things actually shut down exactly what you need in your brain to do the work. And so it's true when you say, I was so scared I couldn't think, you actually are doing that. So the goal is to get you unscared of all those things that you think you can't do.
We've heard about the 10,000 hours, the mastery. Tell us about repetition and how important it is.
Repetition is really important, but what so often students do is they do this sort of very mindless repetition where they'll have the stack of dreaded flashcards and they'll be flipping through them and all that sort of stuff.
I do that as a mom. Don't do it?
Well,
no.
until now, that's all we knew.
And repetition does work, but it's actually the 4th most effective memory technique. Much more effective is emotion, right? So, for example, if something's funny, you remember it, right? If something, really is kind of gross, you also remember it.
Where you were on your saddest day, your most fun day, and all of those things.
It's tapping into that emotion and really figuring out, like, okay, how are we going to make this memorable in that way? So if you think of, for example, history, we often deal with it as like a series of random facts, right? One thing after another. But in fact, really, you want to find the story. What is the story of this history? Like, why would these people do these things?
What would it be like to live in this time? How would you feel if someone did this to you? And then you make it really dramatic. You never forget.
You guys make me want to learn. I love it. Your enthusiasm and passion. We need teachers like you out there. Okay, I love it. I want to go back to school and have you as teachers. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
us.
us.
The book is The Straight A Conspiracy. Let's head over to the kitchen.